Hi guys, thanks for all the support we've had for our new business, The Kitchen and the Cook. So this is our first week. We've got a 3-course meal here. One is the starter, one is the main and the dessert. I'm just going to do the starter now, if you just bear with me. So I've purposely made the starter really simple. I think a lot of these cook-alongs, when you're cooking the starter and then you're cooking the main, etc., it just gets really complicated to do everything in order. So nice simple starter. Brand new dish, you know, served at the supper club. It's something I've just come up with. So we've got all the different components here ready prepped for you. Right, so this dish was inspired by these. These are amazing purple sugar snap peas that are so sweet. And I got these from KD Davis' Sons on Doncaster Market. And Ryan gave me some to try. And I was so blown away by how delicious they were that I kind of created a dish around them. So first thing to do, you just want to remove the kind of little bit of string off either side. So if you just go like that and then pull it, and you'll see it takes it out like that. Okay. We haven't done this in advance because it'd make them go soggy. Right, so they're kind of prepped now. All I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut them down a little bit more. So I'll probably cut them into 3 pieces. So I'm using a bowl for this, but obviously you can put it on a plate. Right, so it's just an assemblage really of everything else. So this is the main component. This is, I'm calling it a hummus, but it's got no chickpeas in it. It's made with puy lentils, mirepoix vegetables, some real aromatic herbs, thyme, rosemary, etc., and black sesame and tahini. So we've got that, and then we've got some more lentils. These ones have just been dressed. Again, these have been cooked down. Totally vegetarian, this, no meat in any of it. I'm just going to put them around the edge. So we've got kind of 2 different variants, basically, of the lentils. Right, so trust me, that tastes amazing, but it looks like dog shit. So what we're going to do is we're going to dress it up, just put some other elements on it. So we've got some lovely goat's cheese. This is really nice. Just put that on, break it up. Just wash my hands. So we're going to scatter our little peas on there. So what we're looking for here is all these different elements mean that as you're eating the dish, you're going to get a different amount of them with each forkful. So it keeps you interested in eating it. It keeps your attention all the way through. So for a textural element, we've just got some puffed rice. Put that on. And then we're just going to put some salad on. Now, there's loads and loads of things in flour at the minute. Use loads of edible flowers from your garden if you've got them. You know, our thyme is got flowers on it, so is the rosemary. This is just some watercress. You're going to have pea shoots as well in your box. If you've got nasturtiums, they're particularly good as well, the flowers and the leaves. And then we'll just put some edible flowers on ours. I like to take the petals off personally. There you go. So, time for the main course. And it's one of my favourite things. Rump of lamb. Beautiful lamb this, Yorkshire lamb, obviously. It's pasture, grass-fed, treated really nicely. All the skin's taken off, it's trimmed down nicely. This is quite a tricky meat to cook. Leg of lamb, this rump is basically from the top of the leg. So you treat it like leg of lamb. Now, the easiest way is if you've got a water bath, and I know some people that have bought this cook along have, vat pack it, chuck it in the water bath, about 57 degrees for around an hour, and then just brown it off or put it in a wee barbecue it afterwards. But I'm going to pan fry it here. So I've got a pan here, and I'm going to get some heat into it. No oil in the pan. And we're going to start it off, and then we're going to run it through the oven. So just wait until it's up to temperature. A little bit longer. Keep waiting. Right, there we go. Just pop it in there. Medium heat, and then just bring it up till it just starts. You'll see a little bit of fat just rendering out of it. And then we're going to pop it into the oven. I'm just going to go and wash my hands now. Just press it a little bit in the centre, because what happens is you just kind of set in the protein and it tends to sort of curl up, and sometimes you end up with the middle's not that well cooked. Right, I'm just going to check the colour. You've just got a little bit of colour on there, you don't want more than that. What's going to happen now is we put the heat in the pan already, okay? Now we put it into an oven set for 200 degrees. I'm going to give it 12 minutes. And then I'm going to check it. Right, so I'll tell you this now. Cooking rump of lamb is tricky. It's more difficult than cooking a steak of beef or a piece of venison or even a duck breast, etc. Because the way that you usually test how something's done is you feel it. So you can use a temperature probe, in which case you would basically roast it until it was about 50 degrees or just over, and you'd rest it for 5-10 minutes, and that would bring it up to temperature. So the resting is essential. We are going to rest this for 5 minutes, but I'm just going to check it after 12, because it could take 12 minutes, it could take 14 minutes. But basically what you're looking for is you want it to be slightly hard. If you get any give at all in it, it's going to be too rare. Now, if that was steak, that's great, but lamb, particularly leg of lamb and rump, needs to be cooked kind of medium well. So whereas loin, you can have it more rare, with this you have to have it like that. So it's just in the oven. I'll come back to you in a minute when it's time to check it. Right then guys, so it's kind of got 5-6 minutes left to go, so about halfway through. Take it out, just give it a quick flip. I'm just going to check the fat. That's the perfect colour. We don't want it any darker than that. And what I'm going to do now as well is you've got one of our smoked carrots. So it's carrot that we smoke, and it's confit in butter and garlic, etc. Kind of a bit of a signature thing of ours. I'm just going to pop that in there. This only needs, right at the end of cooking, it's probably only going to need about 3 minutes to warm up this. But we'll pop it in now. And then I've got some asparagus to prep as well. So, again, we've not done this in advance just because it stays fresher better like this. So a lot of chefs will tell you to bend it like that, and where it cracks is where you actually use the asparagus from there. I think you tend to lose quite a bit, so I don't really do that. I just kind of feel where it's tender. So I can tell from there it's pretty tender. So all we're going to do, mostly for garnish really, is we just run a knife around it, like that, come down and peel it. Obviously you don't have to bother doing this, but it's just rather bizarrely, this is something our Raphael loves doing, so it's a good job to give to the kids if they're quite neat. So what we're going to do with this, there's a couple of different ways of cooking asparagus. One thing I never do with asparagus is boil it, because it just leaches so much flavour. So the two options that I like personally are roast it, so I could quite easily just chuck it in there for a few minutes, get a bit of colour on it. But I tend to cook with a butter emulsion, so it's a really easy technique this. If you come to the supper club, you'll see it's how we cook everything. We don't pre-blanch things like most restaurants, we don't cook them in advance and then just finish them off. We cook them in real time, and that way you're not losing all the flavour into the water. So basically you just need a pan, splash of water into your pan, and then pop your asparagus in there, season it. A little trick I'll give you as well is some people when they do this, they put a little pinch of sugar in as well, which can be quite nice. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to cook it as is. So we'll bring it up to the boil, really high, and then we're going to cook it for 2 minutes only. So I'll finish this off as the meat's resting, literally 2 minutes. And when I say 2 minutes, I set a timer for 2 minutes, exactly 2 minutes, and then we'll pull it out. And what will happen then is that the water basically kind of evaporates and emulsifies, and you get this sort of creamy butter sauce that dresses it. Right then guys, so I'm going to check on the lamb. So that at the minute is still very rare in the middle, I can tell that, can you see? Still giving, but it is kind of semi-cooked. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to rest it on here for 5 minutes. At this point I'll just season it with some salt. Use two types of salt. I use a fine salt like this, and then a finishing salt, so we use like a Maldon or something when it's rested. So again, just like with everything before, 5 minutes, set a timer on your phone or on the oven, and we'll come back to it then. Thank you. Right, so while the meat's resting, got two other elements to do. The asparagus to cook, as discussed before, and also we've got this, which is it's some spelt, which is an ancient grain, and it's dressed with a puree of mushrooms. So you use some fresh mushrooms that have been sauteed in butter and dried set mushrooms as well. I also put a little bit of rice wine in it, a little bit of soy sauce, and a tiny little bit of Marmite. You can't really taste it, but it just gives it more umami basically. So we're just going to warm it. You can do it in a microwave or in a pan, whichever's easiest. A microwave's probably easiest, that's why I'm going to do it in a pan. Just on a low heat, just literally just warm it through. So the asparagus goes on a high heat. So what we want is we want to wait for the water to boil. You can see a little bit of steam. You can see that the pan's rattling. When you get to that stage, you can turn the heat down to medium, give it just 2 minutes, and it'll be perfect. Right then guys, so the meat's rested. I've cooked the spelt. I did have to add a splash of water to it, by the way, so you might need to do the same. The asparagus is cooked, the butter emulsion. Been sitting there a minute now. So the lamb, we're going to slice it. I'll just pop it back on here, just because it will give it a little bit of moisture. Obviously we'd rather not have that on the plate. It's just a purely presentational thing. So the plate, really important, really important this. Make sure you run it through the oven, get it nice and warm. And then here to go with it, we've got a little bit of beetroot puree. This is a sponge cake that I've made with herbs and mint and parsley, etc. We cook these in a microwave using a siphon. You get this unbelievably light texture. I just like it in spring because, you know, it kind of looks like verdant, kind of mossy green. So we're just going to use a little bit of that. And it's got a very nice flavour as well, I think. So we'll plate it now. So first thing, we just want some of this spelt. Oh, if you've got any of that butter left over from the bread as well. And by the way, let us know if you can tell what the butter's flavoured with. That'd be amazing in here, just a little bit of that in here if you've got some. So onto the plate. Pop my lamb on. Now, for the beetroot, you can probably just put a little blob of it on. There's lots of things you can do. What I tend to do is use a palette knife, and I'll just put a little bit on and drag it across it, or you can use an artist one or whatever. We'll just do like a dragged quenelle type of thing, I think. I'll just pop it like that. And just, it's a bit old hat now, but I still quite like it. A little bit of this around. And then not forgetting our carrot. Just put that in there somewhere, like that. A bit more green. And finally, the asparagus. There you go. Right then guys, so dessert time. Pretty classic. It's a panna cotta. We take lots and lots of effort, and we've been working for years and years and years to get the tiniest amount of gelatin possible. I'm a bit nervous about this because I've never actually turned one out of one of these before, so hopefully it works. If I can give you some advice, if you want something that's completely foolproof, and this is probably what I would do if I were you, you could just remove the lid, and then all the little bits of garnish, you could put them on there and eat it out of there. That way, obviously, it's not going to collapse. But I'm going to give it a go. So panna cotta, some strawberries, a little secret syrup. This is a little trick of mine that I use. And then we just got some meringue and some pistachio nuts that I've just caramelised. So we give you the strawberries, they're washed, but they've not been hulled or chopped or anything. So that keeps them fresh. So we're going to prep these. Now, ideally, when you put this syrup on, you want to leave them to macerate in the syrup for about 10 minutes or more. Sadly, I don't have that amount of time. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pop it on there and just give them a quick zhuzh around. I'd be interested to see if you know what the flavour is in this syrup. Quite unusual, but There we go. Right. So I've got a pan of hot water. Really important that you do this right time-wise. So we're going to pop it in there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Take it off, give it a while. A little bit misshapen, not too bad an effort. So then we just add the other bits. Keep the syrup as well, put a little bit of that around there because it's got a real nice flavour to it. Nuts for texture. Texture is a real big part of eating for me. And then finally, a little bit of meringue on there. And that's your dish. Hope you enjoy it. Right guys, I hope you've really enjoyed your meal. I hope you've not had any major mishaps along the way. We've tried to keep it relatively simple. We'd really appreciate it if you let us see pictures of your food on social media. Please tag us on Instagram or Facebook. So on Instagram, it's The Kitchen and Cook. On Facebook, it's The Gourmet Dining Room. And have a wonderful weekend. Thank you.